David French, too, tweeted, and I want to show this on the screen. He sent out this tweet. He said, Hobby Lobby won at the Supreme Court. Masterpiece Cake Shop won at the Supreme Court. Speech codes have been struck down from coast to coast. When parts of the left tried to suppress liberty, they lost. So it's just false to say that the only option is to fight fire with fire. And I think that this is an incorrect take as well. Hobby Lobby did win at the Supreme Court because they had the capacity to fight this. And Masterpiece Cake Shop, think about Jack Phillips for a second. First of all, he's still in court. The radical left has never stopped their assault on him. After he very narrowly won at the Supreme Court, meaning there was no precedent set by the Supreme Court's ruling on Jack Phillips and Masterpiece Cake Shop. They just found very narrowly that Jack Phillips had been the target of basically animosity towards his religious beliefs based on how the state treated him in their interactions. This was not a broad ruling on whether someone may run their business according to their own religious beliefs. This was a very narrow religious animus violation on behalf of the state, and that's why Jack Phillips won. And then after he won that, transgender activists asked him to bake a transgender transition cake, and Jack Phillips is fighting that in court. He hasn't been in his bakery in like 10 years. So this is, to me, this is an absurd argument. David French should know better than to make this argument because these aren't real wins. People are self-censoring. Conservatives are doing business, are afraid of being targeted, their individual businesses or their persons being targeted by the left, by government. And there's a huge difference between a corporation like Disney, who was granted special governing status by the state of Florida in the interest of the people, and then when they stopped serving the interest of the people, having that revoked because it's required by the Florida state constitution to reevaluate whether it's still serving the interest of the people. There's a very big difference between that and between the left using the power of the government to target an individual and try to take away not special status, but generalized rights that every business and every person and every corporation is supposed to enjoy. Two wildly, wildly different things. And this should be obvious. Jonah Goldberg also, and we can show this on the screen too, he says, I'm just trying to imagine what folks on the right would say if a liberal politician said they might back off Hobby Lobby if they changed their politics. So again, this ignores who the radical left is and how the radical left operates, because liberals never back off. They never back off. I mean, what did I just say about Jack Phillips? They have never backed off. Chick-fil-A was actually essentially banished from London in the UK because of their politics. Remember, Chick-fil-A is not open on Sundays. They have Bible verses on the bottom of their cups, and the family that owns it gave money to pro-traditional marriage organizations and funds. I mean, think about the Little Sisters of the Poor. These are Catholic nuns who didn't want to be forced to subsidize abortifacient birth control, because that not only does contraception violate Catholic doctrine, but so does abortion. This is 2 in 1. And the Obama administration, the radical left, took them to court for 8 years. 8 years before the Supreme Court finally put a stop to that. The radical left never stops. They don't back off. So this is a false premise to say, imagine if a liberal politician said, oh, we'll back off if you change your politics. No. The radical left is never going to be happy until conservatives and anything that expresses a conservative viewpoint is completely silenced, completely ostracized, completely intolerant. And they're so intolerant that they will not allow even an iota of conservative thought or conservative speech to exist. They label us, our words, as violence. They try to censor us and stifle us. So it's a false premise to suggest that this is potato.